Hey guys, how you doing? Josh from Rising from the Ashes. It's been a while since I've done a video, and it's good to be back. I'm over here blinded by the light. I'm not quite wrapped up like a douche, but I can act like it, or whatever he says in the song. But yeah, man, it's been a while since I gave an update and shared some of my experiences and strength and hope in Sidewalk with people here down here at the park. It's a beautiful day. You know, that's what I got glaring in my face. Which I love it. Don't let me lie. Look at the pretty trees behind me. See the pretty trees? See it? See it? Any which way. I've been coming up this month. It'll be 6 months again, which will be only the second time in my adult life that I've ever been able to achieve sobriety that long. And just gonna be honest, I haven't ever shared it before, but I'm going to share it with y'all now. I used the 12-step program to help get me sober. It's like 2012 is when I was introduced to the program, and I never could grasp it. A lot of the things, which I've shared before on here, on this platform, about my mental health, how turning 21 in a psych ward, been dealing with it, unmedicated. Self-medicating is what the proper term is, for years. And this Cinco de Mayo will be my third year anniversary of taking a medication for my bipolar, and it's completely changed my life. It's helped me to make the next decision, which was getting sober, because I'm not gonna lie, I am an alcoholic. I've got the ism. Whenever I do start, it's like it's so good when it touches my lips, and I end up giving it everything. That's why I've spent so many times in my life on and off homeless since I was 19, and it's been a wild ride, but it's time to get on a new ride. You know, and my life has been changing substantially since it. You know, the very first step that I learned was to admit that I was powerless over alcohol and that my life had become unmanageable. And even living in a vehicle in a bar parking lot, I couldn't admit it, honestly. I never could actually fully do that. And that's really, truly the only step that you have to do 100%. All the other ones you learn as you go. And then once you learn them, you start applying them and living them. And it's been the only way that I've seen in treating my alcoholic disease, which I do believe is a disease now. It took me years to realize that it's not a matter of my will. It's not weakness. It's just a disease that I have, along with my bipolar. It's something that um, either I was born with or I developed. You know, and facing these things, I'm learning that I can manage a life, and it's changing it. I'm making so much better decisions. Um, I'm able to make those better decisions. I'm having a new perspective on life. Some might say, "Oh, you just behind on the curve." No, I'm exactly where I need to be at this moment, and it's opened me up to be even more authentic. So I've come to realize how much of a mask I wore, how much my pride and ego had kept me stuck. You know, by saying I can do this, I don't need no help. No, bullshit, bullshit. That's why other humans exist on this earth, Joshua. And for you too, whoever might be struggling. You know, seek out that help. I'm just not bragging on me. I'm sharing my stuff with you, my personal life, to hopefully maybe inspire, that it can be done, you know, that you can find healing, you can accept it, and you can live a life instead of survive it. You know, We all have our own tailor-made trauma that we went through. That's just life. That's part of it. We're here to learn lessons and to grow from them. And it's well worth it. Today I actually contacted a publisher, and I'm starting to reach out on some of my artistic ventures that I've put on pause. I've had to work on myself to get myself at a stable place and to take care of myself, to be able to do some of my dreams. You know, they do come true. But I couldn't have done it if I was still stuck in that vicious cycle. Um, it is breakable. You know, I don't just say that shit. I'm living it. I'm believing it. And it's so cool. I mean, I'm not lying. It's so fucking cool. To be able to be an instrument of a higher power, whatever I actually choose or understand, there's so much more fulfilling things. And to know, one of the things in my prior and old videos, even before I changed the name of my YouTube channel, and I was mainly just sharing on Facebook. At some point in that journey, when I made it that 11 months, I started to think that I actually was the one keeping me sober. And that's not the case. Through the 12 steps, I've learned that there's a higher power, a power greater than me, that is keeping me sober. And I'm giving that full credit this time, because I seen it for the longest time, and then I decided, no, it was me. And then I seen where it led me. I gave everything that I built up, I gave back to that alcoholism, back to that disease, and I lost it. It wasn't a loss. It was me giving it back. That's the way it actually works. And it's been amazing, this journey. I went into a rehab this time because I knew that I needed extra help, and I needed some aha. What the hell was that? I don't know if y'all heard it, but it's a couple of barges over there. I don't think it was a full-blown wreck, but like my old life. But anyways, I got the aha moments that I needed on this program. The things that really helped me. There's a chapter in the back of the book called Acceptance is the Answer, and that extremely, I was meant to read that at that specific time. And there's a line in there that I truly believe for my life is true. It rings true for me. Is that I'd used up my right to chemical comfort. And I mean, that made it more acceptable for me to actually think that I could never have a joint. I can never have a fucking drink. I can never do it again. The only treatment for this disease is complete abstinence. And it is true, because once I introduce it, then the craving starts again. Then my mindset changes again. There were some big truths that I had to face, and it's helped me to become more authentic. I've taken a mask off, and it's a more fulfilling life that I'm starting to live. And I'm saying that to tell anyone who might be struggling. I mean, whether you're living in a car, whether you're working a dead-end job, whether you're a functioning alcoholic, you can be an alcoholic and function. You can have a different bottom, than what mine was. You don't have to be living on the streets. And mental health wise, you don't have to be in and out of psych wards like I was. You can have, there's all different levels on the spectrum. But I'm telling you, there is healing. And it is worth it. Therapy was a great tool for me and helped me get through. And it helped me get back onto the path of a medication, which has been extremely helpful for me. And finding the right doctor. Don't give up if you find the wrong one. Look for another one. You're worth that. You're worth it. I have a new self-worth today because I invested in myself. And now that my cup overflows, I can invest in other people. I can let them know. But first, I have to take care of me because it's been proven there's nobody else that's going to. Besides my higher power. I was carried by a higher power. And I say that because I don't discriminate. I believe everybody was given a free will from a higher power to believe in whatever they want to believe. And I'm for you. Even if you don't believe that there's a God or a higher power, keep going. Keep going. But one day you might just find that it's more than coincidences that are happening to you. I give credit where credit's due, and I'm strictly just alive of a higher power that has guided me through some of my roughest and hardest times and put the right people in the right place at the right time. When I first started taking the medication, my first appointment with a psychiatrist, he was wearing a Fender guitar shirt. I was like, thank you, God. You just showed me right then and there, And he put me on the lowest dose. Now, I've learned the hard way that sometimes it has to be adjusted. Now I'm on a higher dose now, right before I went to rehab, and I started this journey again. It doesn't matter. Even in life, even in your day, you can start it over at any moment. But just remember, you're not starting from scratch. We have these experiences to teach us. And you're worth learning. You're worth learning the lessons to apply them. It's just, I can't explain it. I can't put into words how it changes you. It's a beautiful thing. It's not necessarily even a change. That was one of the things I was afraid of, was change. It has tapped me into a more authentic me, a more authentic state of being. And I still cut up, class clown 98, I might not have got my diploma, but I got that, and I still have my sense of humor. I'm still me, but I'm more in touch with that child before the world got to him, and I have a more joy as a child does at things. But if there's anybody out there struggling, if you're hearing this, it didn't come across for coincidence, for no reason. Maybe you need to hear this, that you're well worth putting in the effort. Change is not a bad thing. You can evolve. You can grow. You can transform your trauma into triumph. I'm doing it. So, if you don't believe in yourself, know this. I believe in you. And you can do it. Alright? Now rise from the ashes, my fellow phoenixes, and fly on. I love you.